Students often look at consultancy projects and they imagine that there is an answer. Should we do this or shouldn't we do that? And in practice, that's rather like this idea of the unique best choice. Companies very rarely want an answer as definitive as that. What the student should be presenting is what the data say, and then if you want to go down this path, these are the assumptions you'll need to make, and if you don't go down this path, that will be why. So two very useful phrases are not unless, ... and only because. So if the question were, should we enter that market? The answer might be, on balance, we don't think you should enter that market unless the following circumstances and situations change. Or it might be, we do think you should enter that market because of the following situations and circumstances. But that makes it very clear to the client what your recommendation is based on, what the assumptions are, and it's not just the unique shortcut yes or no answer, it's a much more nuanced one that takes into account the data and allows the client to make their own decision. The client may even have in knowledge that the students don't have that influences those parameters, so that what you recommend as a not unless actually becomes something they want to do because they know that one of the factors that you say, if this were to turn out for good, actually in their case will.
Well, let me tell you a war story here, Mike. We once had a student group which was trying to recommend to a company which of several markets, which set of among several markets to go into. It was a communications company. And the student group produced a multiple choice kind of model where basically you fed in guesses and then scored the guesses, ranked them for importance, and then the program told you back what your guesses meant and which things worked better or worse. In that sort of situation, clearly the client does have to take a conditional decision. You know, it could work or it might not work. I could see the client was not very convinced because the students had only put in one set of guesses, their guesses. I could see the students were a bright group, so I said to them, live in the meeting, I want one of you to change the spreadsheet so that you can stack multiple answers across the page. Then, when this was working, which took about 5 or 10 minutes, I said, you must ask the client to start to take over. Let the client make the guesses. So the clients went mad, you know, they argued and they banged in an assumption, set of assumptions, set of assumptions, set of assumptions, set of assumptions. Very quickly, they'd got 14 scenarios for the future, and they were running out of fresh things to think of. Then they said, well, hey, Sid, what does this mean? What's happening? And I said, well, look at what your answers show. The top 5 are always the same 5 countries, just the order changes. The bottom 5 are always the same 5 countries, and it's just the order that changes. You look like you've decided, under a lot of all the guesses you can make, somewhere in the top 5 is going to be fine, and somewhere in the bottom 5 you definitely shouldn't be doing. Everywhere else is pretty uncertain. But the identity of the top 5, you have verified. Whatever the uncertainties, they remain the same countries. You've actually got an input to your decision. Then it became the client's decision. And that's a situation I like to see at the end of a consulting project. What I want to see is the company managing its own business through a tool that the students have provided in the student's presence and afterwards. That's success. The consulting team is guiding thought inside the client company.